I think Mighty Park's got absolutely no chance in the Supreme. So I'll know my fate after 2 races.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Staying On Racing channel. It is our Cheltenham Festival final preview. It's just around the corner, only 4 days away until the start of the big festival. So we're going to go through, we done the handicaps in our last video. We're going to go through the graded action and any of the other races that aren't the handicap, like the bumper and all the fun stuff. Gareth, Ryan, welcome back to the channel, boys. Creeping up slowly, the festival right around the bend.
Yeah, we're getting there now, aren't we? You come over Sunday, don't you?
We do. Stratford on Monday, then Tuesday to Friday at the festival. So give myself every chance to be on my arse back in class 3 and class 4 action before the good stuff starts. Gareth, how are you, bud?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. Just got my festival haircut. Had a cheeky little pint afterwards. 4 more sleeps. Yeah, well and truly on the countdown. It's like Christmas.
It's like Christmas indeed. Was not Christmas indeed. Not very festive. Not very jolly with the recent news in the Supreme that Mighty Park has been swapped here. I suppose we'll start with the first race of the festival. Old Park Star, still your favourite. Mighty Park in very close on the exchanges. He might even go off favourite. He's edging towards that way. Talk to talk might be swapping to the Turners. Judging on the exchanges, no concrete decision made yet. El Kairos, My Daddy Paddy, Leader Dalier, Sober Glory, plenty of other awful things. How has our opinions changed since we last reviewed it? I'll start with you, Gareth. Whose camp are you still in, or have you changed?
Yeah, I think the last time we spoke, I'd said I was keen on. I think I was just setting with El Kairos over Old Park Star, and the more the ground dries out, the more I would side with El Kairos. I think he's going to be able to hopefully put his speed to great use over that trip. But I can't lie, I'm quite terrified of Mighty Park. Really wish he was running in the Ballymore. But yeah, he looks like he's going to turn up, he is going to turn up here. But yeah, I think I would just be coming down El Kairos at the minute. I think 5-1 is getting short though, to be honest, given that, he's only won a maiden. But look, he looks very quick. I think your heart's going to be in your mouth coming to the last, just based on what we've seen in his first 2 races. But yeah, I would just side with El Kairos at the moment, but I think Old Park Star is the worthy favourite, and yeah, if Mighty Park was to go off favourite based on one run with a lot of horses looking to get handicapped in behind, it would be a bit daft. So, but look, it looks like it could well happen just with the colours and with the Willie connection and the esteem he's held in. But yeah, El Kairos for me, Jack, just about from Old Park Star.
Yeah, Old Park Star, the yard. I know it's Nicky Henderson. He never really likes to talk. Like before it seems the last couple of weeks before the festival, he kind of cools on all of his horses. He just doesn't want to get too big on him. He seemed to cool a bit on Old Park Star. I've seen a lot of the general consensus online. A lot of people are going a bit colder on him. Ryan, have you cooled on Old Park Star at all?
I still think he's the right favourite, and I'm not sure he will go off favourite, but I think he should. It looks like he's only going to be sort of 10 to 12 runners this in the end. I thought there might be a few more than that. He might be able to. It's only is it Sober Glory who's going to possibly take him on for the lead, but I don't think he necessarily needs to lead. I think he'd be all right sitting second, and I think he's going to get first run on them all, which could be key. I agree with Gareth in terms of El Kairos and the ground coming for him. He's obviously a very quick horse. I can't have Mighty Park at all. I think he's got absolutely no chance in this. I don't know why they've gone for this race over the Turners personally. I think the only horse I can remember coming into this off of one maiden hurdle and such a lack of experience and even going close was Mellon, who got beaten by LeBake, and that was an awful Supreme. I just think off one run he's got no hope. So I'll be sticking with Old Park Star and similar opinions what I had before.
Yeah, it's a kind of a double-edged sword though, isn't it? It's like, on one argument, why would they go for the Supreme, and then slightly change that, why would they go for the Supreme? Is he that good that he could pitch into the Supreme off just one run? He's definitely fascinating, and as Johnny Danilo says, they can't beat you if they're not in the race, so I'd definitely rather he wasn't in the race. I'm the same as you, Garrett. I haven't changed my opinion that much. I like to kind of run through the race in my head. I would have liked Idaho Sun in here for how I thought the race was going to plan out, an extra bit of pace in there, or Mossy Fen Road. But Sober Glory's going to go forward. There's a couple of other ones that if they run, they might go forward. The likes of Sortudo, if he runs, he'll probably go forward. Sambaco might go forward as well. But there might be a strong pace on here. I'm just not so sure Old Park Star is going to enjoy it if he can't buck out in front and run the race out. Like, there is obviously still question marks about his form this season. What has he beat the Hurricane Pat? Did he run to form that day? Is he that good? I just can't see him getting away and dominating against a field of mid-150s horses, and especially with the ground drying as well. I could just, every way I play the race out, I could just see El Kairos angling in towards the rail, coming to the last on the steel, pop over it and have one go at him. I think that Elliot said he's going to be ridden that way. I just can't see him not being banged there at the finish. I also find it really hard to believe, and not a lot of people are making this point, like, whatever you want to say about Paul Nicholls and his decline over the last few years, I find it very hard to believe he had a Supreme winner in his yard and he couldn't get to win one bumper in 3 goes. I know horses can improve for hurdles, but I just find that very hard to believe. I can't even think of a Supreme winner that had 3 goes at bumpers and hadn't won any of them and then went and won a Supreme. So I'm fairly confident on El Kairos. Just the complete unknown in Mighty Park has really thrown me for a loop. I'd have much rather he was in the Turners. But I'll stick with El Kairos, especially with the ground. It's a lovely day today. The last couple of days have been really nice, so looks like it's going to be proper good to soft national hunt ground. So just to share it up, El Kairos for me, El Kairos for you, Matt, and G-Matt, and you're sticking with Old Park Star, Ryan.
Yeah, I think he's most likely winner. And I hate to say it, but I think the race is going to set up perfectly for Talk the Talk. So after slagging him off all season, I don't think there's not going to be so many runners, and I think he's probably at the price he's gone to. You can get 13 to 2 on him now if he does run in this race, and they're paying. A lot of the bookies might even be paying up to 5 places on the day. I'll be amazed if he's out the top 5. To be fair.
Yeah, and all you're doing is trusting the exchanges, because from the camp they've always said Supreme, 90% to go to the Supreme. There's been no real talk of him not going to the Supreme, so it's a weird move, alright. But we've had these moves before, and the horses have come in real short and still went to the other races. So I just don't like Talk the Talk. I just don't see him. If there is a strong early pace, he might get caught a little bit too far back. And that's extremely hypocritical for the next horse I'm going to put up to win the Arkle, which we'll get onto. But I don't know. Historically, he wasn't a great jumper. I don't think a crawl around the last day where he could kind of take his time at his hurdles is concrete evidence to go, he's a good jumper. And I just think King Rascal Grey and Ballyfad, they crawl around and they still had him on the back foot and he still need the whole length of the straight to get up. I agree he won't be too far away, but I'd just be worried he get caught a little bit too far back. Speaking of horses that will get caught a little bit too far back, but this one I'm choosing to blindly ignore that. Lulamba versus Kopek, the board seems to be a match race in the Arkle Chase. Kagis obviously in there as well. Romeo Coolio shortened dramatically for the RSA over the last couple of days, so he might be doing a switchy. Steel Ally, Irish Panther, Kappa J Pike. Looks a match race, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Looks between the two of them. Although, I mean, as you say, you could see Lulamba getting a bit out of his ground early, and Kopek is obviously very inexperienced, so it could end up being a blowout for both of them. I mean, I did say after Lulamba ran last time, I wasn't impressed with it at all, and I thought Kopek would go off favourite in this race. He's clearly going to go off favourite. I still think at 7-4 he's a great price, and I can't see him being beaten if he jumps round. I just think he'll be streets clear of Lulamba turning in, and he won't have the time to catch him. You know,
we're struggling when we're booming, securing value. We haven't tipped any winners. We've tipped the market move of Kopek going into favour. Gareth, are you in the English camp or the Irish camp?
Well, you've been slagging me off for all the English picks I've been putting up, but I'm in the Irish camp this time. Kopek the board for me, not as bullish as Ryan, the one run over fences would be a slight concern. But I think if one of these is an out and out 2-miler in the top sort of 3 or 4 in the betting, it's Quebec. Cargeese 5-1. I think she's at probably an each way to nothing, because I'm not sure Romeo Kalu is going to come here, and if he does, I don't think he'll be in the 3. I hear Kappa J Pike isn't going to Cheltenham. I thought I read on Twitter today. So yeah, she's about 5 or 6-1. She's maybe an each way to nothing in that race, but I would just be setting with Quebec. I wouldn't be as bullish as Ryan, but yeah, I think he is the out and out 2-miler between himself and Lulamba.
Yeah, like I did, like it's 1 mile 7 or 1 mile 7.5, and it's gonna be good to soft ground. He did get. I actually rewatched the Triumph earlier, and he was even behind the bridle, big time turning in. I think he's improved since then. I just don't get the fact that people say he's slow. Just because he's not a flashy traveller doesn't mean he's necessarily slow, is my main argument. Like Johnny Deneen says, when he says go, he picks back up. I understand he's not a bad jumper in the early part of his races. He's slow and safe, but I'd rather him be slow and safe over the first 3 or 4 than over the last 3 or 4. When he's at full gear, he pops them. He's a really good jumper when he's in full flow. It is just that question mark of, is he going to be 8 to 10 lengths back turning in, or 3 to 4? Because you're going to get a completely different result there. I just think if he's within 5 lengths turning in, he's going to find up that hill. And one thing that I've been seeing tossed around Twitter, and I absolutely hate it. You made the right clarification, Gareth. You said 1 chase run. I am not having... 2 horses have gone and won the Arkle off 1 run. Western Warhorse and Well Chief both had 2 hurdle runs earlier in the season, both of them in November. Western Warhorse ran in January, Well Chief ran in February, their chase start. So they had 3 starts that season, 3 runs, 2 over hurdles, 1 fences, completely uninterrupted seasons. They had plenty of runs, they were in race fit and ready. So it's completely different to Kopek de Boards, who had 1 run in the middle of November and now has to go. He had a bone splint removed, missed the DRF. He's had a completely interrupted season, and now he has to go and run to 165 off the back of 1 chase run back in November. I just think you're asking an awful lot. He might end up being a really, really good horse, but I'm just going to take the form that's in the book, beating the season chasers from Lulamba, and he's just consistent. You know what you're going to get with Lulamba. He's going to be there, bang there at the finish. I can't say that for Kopek de Boards.
You're disregarding his best piece of form, where he beat Imperial Pass around Punchestown there a couple of weeks ago in the schooling session, and Imperial Pass came out in frank form. So yeah.
Yeah, that might be his best piece of form, or maybe getting hammered by Oronsi last season. That might be the best piece of form as well. Yeah, I've seen that on people crabbing Lulamba getting beaten by Poneros, but conveniently leaving out Kopek de Boards getting beaten last year at Punchestown.
Punchestown form doesn't count.
Selective opinions. Yeah, I'm all in on Lulamba, to be honest. I just think Henderson's won the race more. He knows exactly how to win the race. He's the winningest trainer of the Arkle. He's got a strong staying 2-miler. I think you've got to get 2 really good horses here. Like, you could get a champion chaser and a Gold Cup horse in time. I just think I'm going to stick with the horse who's had a much better prep. Kopek has to come and beat him. I don't think Lulamba has to prove that he can beat Kopek. I think it's the other way around. So I'll take my chances on that. Just to confirm, I'm the only one on Lulamba. You 2 boys on Kopek de Boards. Very, very interesting. So we went through all the handicaps, so we'll skip down the Ultimate and the Boodles were the next races. So the Champion Hurdle, that brings us on to next. Dividing opinions here again. Lossie Mount come in for a bit of support for the Champion Hurdle over the last couple of days. That's eased off a slight bit. She was out to a mad price on the exchange for the Mares Hurdle at one stage, 6 or 7 to 1. She's back into kind of 9 to 4, 2 to 1-ish. Where do you lie with this race, Gareth?
I've been Team Lossiemouth for the Champion Hurdle all season, as you know, and as I mentioned on the last video. Yeah, I was getting a bit more confident as I saw the money appearing to pour in for her on the exchange there. If she goes here, she's still my pick, and I still think she'd win it. I see now on Sky Bet on the non-runner no bet market. She's in 2.9 to 4, and Brighter Days Ahead's drifted out to 100 to 30. I think they were the other way around before this week, so there is some money coming somewhere for her. Sorry, I got on her booming my 7 to 2 value that I got a couple of weeks ago, non-runner no bet. So yeah, she'd be where my money would lie. As things stand, if she doesn't go, as I mentioned, Golden Ace will be an each way bet than nothing. But I'm hoping she goes here because, as you discussed before, Golden Ace I could see running well, not necessarily winning. But if Lossiemouth runs, I think she'll win.
Okay, Ryan, do you share the sentiments? You team Lossiemouth?
Yeah, very similar. If she turns up, I think she'll go off favourite, and deservedly so. I can't have the New Line. I don't. I know it's a very weak race, but all these people that are coming out and saying New Line's the best bet of the week, I think it's ridiculous. And it's never, they never say anything good about the New Line. It's just the fact that he must beat the other ones because the others are no good, sort of thing. And it's just a load of nonsense, really. I don't think you're going to make money if that's how you're looking at races. I personally think either of the mares will beat him. Either Lossiemouth or Brighter Days Ahead. Yeah, I'd be backing whichever one of those turns up, but with a preference for Lossiemouth, really.
Yeah, the growing narrative these days is that Brighter Days Ahead needs a slightly softer surface to be seen to best effect. There's still a question mark about Cheltenham there. I didn't think it was a question mark. I was willing to forgive her last run on account of she ran so bad after at Punchtown and then came out with the knee issues as well. She ran a good race in the Mares' Novice the year before, but the fact that they're stabling her in Ollie Murphy's means they're aware. There's just something to that, I think. It's like they kind of know, so they're trying to change something up. That would put me off her.
Yeah, I mean, I find that quite strange that they're saying they have no concerns over Cheltenham and then changing the way that they stable her. I thought that rang a little bit of an alarm bell in my head. So they definitely think there's something to it. Maybe they're just taking the precaution, but to me that was a negative.
Yeah, that's it. So like you're trying to take their word over what they're actually doing, and they are. The fact is they're sending her to Ollie Murphy's and not stabling her around Cheltenham, so they're aware of something. Like you said, just alarm bells going off there. Ground looks like it's going to be proper good soft, so I just find it so hard to pick a horse in this race. I really am. Like, I don't like the New Lion. I don't actually like what they done the last run, popping him around and steadying him into the hurdles and trying to, because there's no benefit to that because he's going to have to go full pelt in the champion hurdle. So if anything, I would have thought that would have hurt his chances. Lossiemouth, like I said in previous videos, I don't think she's a 2-miler. But then that raises the question, is the race just so poor she doesn't need to be? She just needs to show up and do what she usually does at Cheltenham, and she could go and win this race, go the lengths. Like I said the last time, I think she's got a place chance, but needs the race to fall apart. Poneros I can't have. Tutti Quanti needs a bog. Alexi not good enough. Amsterdam's a nutcase. Can I just withdraw from this race, or do I have to pick something and embarrass myself? I might just stick with the absolute nut job Amsterdam, just on account. If he needs better ground or something, I just find it really hard to have a bet in this race. I'm strong against a lot of the horses, and I can't pick anything that's makes me want to pick one of these horses. So I'll just stick a novelty each way Amsterdam bet in. So,
is he not going county? No.
No, I think he's going for this one.
No,
So is he not? No,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
Sorry, the whispers I heard last week was that he was going county.
Yeah.
The only thing I think about this race is that I don't know if it's just me that thinks this, but if this was in Ireland, this race, I think the New Line would be third favourite. I just don't see how he's favourite for this. I know there's uncertainty about Lossiemouth running, but I just think if this happened, if this was the Irish Champion Hurdle or the Punchestown Champion Hurdle, I think he'd be third favourite, and I think he's being shown far too much respect.
Yeah, so he is the preview nights talking horse that everyone seems to just land. It's like he's just the horse that everyone least dislikes. You know, like I'd say a lot of people have the same opinion of me. It's just hard to pick. So the race is so bad. There's so many question marks for so many horses. It's just impossible to pick one. So just go with the horse who won the Turners last year and has been pretty good all season. That's probably it.
Yeah, but he's never beaten a good horse, has he?
I love
the Million Lion, Yellow Clay, Wendigo.
Wow. Oh, come on now. Wendigo's a cracker.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was waiting for Gareth to jump in there.
Wendigo just needed stepped up and trip. Don't worry.
Is he? He's definitely going to go to the. He was taken out of the handicap, wasn't he? So
Yeah.
it's all systems go for the RSA. You'd be worried.
Wednesday nap.
Wednesday nap. We'll switch on to the Wednesday now. It's just the plate and the National Hunt Chase on the last two races. So on to the Thursday or on to the Wednesday. The Turners. Unfortunately, Mighty Park not here, but talk to talk. I'm looking here on Carl 5-2 non-runner no bet. Talk to talk. No drama this end. Skylight Hustle, King Rascal Grey, Ballyfad, Active Innocence, Sortudo. Sortudo, big talking horse in the preview nights. David Mullins, Mikey Fogarty, Johnny Deneen. Lots of people putting him up. I'm not sure. David Maxwell, Jesus. David Mullins said he thinks he's Willie's best novice this year, which is just crazy to say. I'm not sure about that. Townend's got to pick King Rascal Grey, you'd imagine. Again, now Mighty Park's out of this race, I find it really hard to pick one. Who are you with, G-Ma?
Yeah, I'd came down in Ballyfad. Was my horse for this. Now the talk might go here. As we discussed previously, I think we all suggested that we'd be more interested in him in the Turners. And if I fancy Ballyfad, I sort of have to fancy him, don't I? With the form lines intertwined. I just don't think 2 miles is what Ballyfad wants. I don't think he's that quick. I think he's just a galloper and he'll stay on. Again, look, I just wanted to take on no drama this end. Wasn't overly keen on Skylight Hustle or Active Innocence. And it really came down to King Rascal Grey or Ballyfad for me. And I just went for Ballyfad. And I think / hope that Jack will ride him on the day.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, so I mean, as you say, with Sortudo and Sober, they've been big talking horses from a lot of the Mullins lot on the preview circuit. I just think that says a lot about King Rasco's chance because he's obviously going to be Paul Townend's ride. So he would be my bet in the race at the moment. I think 6-1 is very fair. I think once Paul Townend is put up on board, he'll be half that price. I think no drama this end is gonna drift. Obviously, I think Skylight Hustle and Ballyfad, one of them is going to drift because whichever one Jack doesn't choose is going to be a negative. Talk the talk would be interesting if he comes here, but again, Joseph keeps saying that he's definitely going for the Supreme, so we've just got to stick with that, really, haven't we? So I think King Rascal Grey is the one I'd want to be on at this point. I think he's a very fair price, and I think he'll be half that price once Paul Townend is confirmed on board.
Is there any chance he kind of strikes me as a horse who needs a decent bit of cut in the ground? I'm not sure if he beating about his bumpers on yielding. He just seems to be at his best. He won at Limerick on bottomless ground, and then he was good again at DRF, again on bottomless ground. I just have a little niggle about that. It could not be. It could just be the trip as well because he got outpaced in his bumpers. Probably left a bad impression on me. I'm finding it hard to forgive that. And I think the Limerick race he won was a bit of a no race anyway. But talk to talk is, like we said when we first went through it, I think he'd get taken off his feet early in a Supreme. I think this would suit him a lot better with his jump. Just give him an extra half a second at his hurdles. I did, however, say he's absolutely useless in the Supreme and had no chance. So therefore, I can't really put him up for this race. I've landed very haphazardly, shall I say, on Sober. I was completely against him. I thought that Moscow Flyer one was an absolute farce of a race. Road Exile went off like an absolute nutter. Didn't want any part of that. Faded back, Sober won in a canter. But rated 111 on the flat and a grade 1 winner over hurdles, and he's still 12-1. Again, I think Patrick will ride Sortudo if he goes here because he's already got the leg up on him before. Now, Danny was stood. I actually haven't checked. Is Danny okay? He was stood down yesterday from riding. I haven't heard any if he's out or anything for the festival. Probably just precautionary. But he might be on Sober, which would give me a better chance than if Patrick was on him, because Patrick would be on Sortudo. I just think he hasn't done anything wrong over hurdles, and he's still a massive price. Whereas King Rascal Grey, he was beaten in his bumpers. He was still beaten the last day. Maybe he just needs to go out and trip, but I'll land very... I'll just land on Sober. That's it. I'm being very non-committal so far, but I've landed on Sober.
Willie Mullins' second and third strings just have a terrible record in novice hurdles at the festival. They rarely get them the wrong way round. That's the only thing to say with that.
Speaking of horses that won't be second or third string, Final Demand will still be kept by Paul Townend. Are we retaining the faith, Ryan? Are you retaining the faith?
Yeah. I think the theory of it is he does seem to be better on better ground. So I'm hopeful of a much better run. Um, I did say I think earlier in one of our earlier videos I said Western Fold would have a decent chance, and the ground is coming right for him. So I think if I was freshly looking, I don't think you can back Final Demand at 7-2. Anyway, I don't think that's and unless you see the money coming for him like it did with Gaelic Warrior a couple of years ago. I don't think you can really get too stuck in with confidence there. It'd be interesting if Romeo Coolio runs. I don't think he'd have much chance after running over 2 miles the last twice. I think that would be a big shock to him to suddenly want to go a lot slower and jump a lot more fences. And I think he could just be a bit keen. So yeah, ultimately, I think Western Fold 8-1, and a Cocktail Divan who looks to be coming here. I don't necessarily fancy him. He clearly didn't stay 3 miles earlier in the season behind Oscar's brother. That was in a bog, so perhaps he's got a better chance of staying this time. I do like in this race horses that are on the front end, get into a good jumping rhythm, which he does tend to do in most of his races. And I just think it's a massive vote of confidence, or vote, maybe it's a vote against the big Westerner, that they're giving up a mark of 150 in the Jack Richards to come here instead. They must think he's got a very good chance, and I could see him being the stable first string, and then at 8-1, that's probably going to shorten. But yeah, it'd be a pretty not a confident opinion on this race.
It's one of those festivals, isn't it? It's hard to just commit heavy. It's just been so many horses with so many chances, disappointments. The whole season's been weird as well. There's been all the form is on bottomless. Like, it hasn't stopped raining here since probably mid-October. All the gallops and everyone's had issues, and all the races, all the form soft and heavy ground. So it's hard to know what's going to turn up. I think that theory is clutching at straws a little bit with Final Demand. Maybe he doesn't handle heavy ground. Maybe he doesn't. But like you said, 7-2 it's a short price. Gareth, are you retaining the faith?
Retaining the faith in Wendigo, yeah. No, Final Demand not for me. I'd agree with Ryan. I think 7-2 is too short a price to find out if he's as good as we all sort of once thought he was. I have back Wendigo, as you know. I would share a similar sentiment to Ryan. I think that if they don't go for the Jack Richards, I think it's a huge vote of confidence for Cocktail Divan. And I'd heard on the Nick Luck, I think it was, I'd heard that they are confident he would stay 3 miles on better ground. Obviously, he was very impressive on his last run. He did get an uncontested lead and go out in front, but he still put him to the sword pretty easily. He'd obviously have a massive chance in that Jack Richards of 150. But on the day, if the ground is good to soft, I'll probably back him on the day. I know Wendigo has got form on good to soft, but I probably would have preferred the ground a little bit softer for him, because I could have just seen him plodding on up the hill and reining something back in, because you saw how he got outpaced in Kempton on better ground. And I'd be a little bit concerned to see him could happen against a classier field. So yeah, if the ground is genuine good to soft ground on day 2, I'd probably have a small bet in Cocktail Divan. But Final Demand wouldn't be for me.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't share the same opinion on Cocktail Divan. I know you said he didn't stay earlier, soft to heavy over 3 miles, but he was beaten by Oscar's brother fair and square. He's going to be reopposing. He was also beaten fair and square by Romeo Coolio. He was hammered by Romeo Coolio. He's going to be reopposing. I'm not sure I can see the angle of him 3 miles on decent ground up the Cheltenham Hill enough to reverse the form of either of those. Romeo Coolio did have a very hard race at the DRF, so stepping him up to 3 miles for the first time. I know Gordon said he's bouncing at home. I'd be against him. The big Western, I think she needs soft ground. Kate Doughty potentially needs soft ground. He blows hot and cold. Wendigo, again, he's 7-1. Kitzbühel is 16-1. Kitzbühel is going. He already beat him pretty easily. Kitzbühel beat Wendigo. Wendigo was plodding on, like you said. I would say the ground to be against him then and reversing that form again. It's very washy. I don't know. I don't feel confident picking anything. I just, if you had it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the graded races this year are a minefield.
Absolute
I think
minefield.
it's a sort of festival where if you back a couple of winners, you're going to end up well ahead. But trying to find those winners is going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
Just you mentioned Romeo Coolio there, Jack. I didn't see the declarations today. Was he left in the Ryanair?
No.
Yeah,
Because
Was he?
he is left. He was
yeah,
left in the run.
so the chat from Gordo was that if the Ryanair really cuts up and it's only really fact to file, that they would definitely have that on the table as an option.
Yeah, well, the owners want them to run at Cheltenham. So every time Matt Chapman rings the owner says a Cheltenham run is not out of the question. He's running at Cheltenham, so it's just picking the race. I'd be against him anyway, to be honest, wherever he goes. And Cargeese probably, that race, they probably had the two hardest races at the DRF on absolutely bottomless stuff, so it's hard to bounce back from that. I'm just gonna stick with Final Demand. Very washy, but he was like at one stage he was near the odds on for this race, and now he's 7-2. For a reason, he bombed out. But if you could just have a goldfish memory, just forget that happened. Just completely ignore that happened, and stick with him. It's an easy betting proposition. Yeah, I don't know. It's a washy opinion, but I'm just gonna stick with him because I could see him winning pretty easily, and then you're going, why didn't I back him? Like, the signs were there. They loved him at the start of the season. They loved him last season, and all of a sudden you go against him and he wins easy. So, look, just to avoid that happening, I'll stick with him. But again, it's not a massive opinion. This is also a very washy race for favourites, the Champion Chase. So what we're going to go on to next. Mansborough is your 8-11 favourite now that Marine Nationale has been ruled out with a sore neck. Probably the weight of Barry Connell's expectations every single night. So it's Load of Sword is second favourite at 4-1. Elete Tops 9-2. Quilixios 8-1. John Bond 10-1. He probably won't go. If Fact to File goes, Nicky has said he's going to go to Aintree. Irish Panther, Eddie and Pat Harty were saying they might stick him in here. They're saying it's such a weak race that they might stick him in here. He's 16-1, 25 Solness in the field. It's hard to be confident in Mansborough at 8-11 with given the favourites record in this race. Are you boys both on him?
No, don't think you can be at those odds. I'd happily just watch it 8-11, and I hope he does win. Because if anything else wins this race, then it's just another year of an awful Champion Chase winner. Has there been a good one since Altior? I don't know. But yeah, I can't have Load of Sword. Obviously 7-2, 4-1. He couldn't even come top 3 in that Arkle last year.
No.
I just can't have him. Ilite Toms, he's really got to bounce back from what he did, and he's got a poor record at Cheltenham. I think if I'm going to have a bet at the prices right now, it's gonna have to be Quilixios, 17-2. I don't think that's bad. To be fair, you're still getting the 3 places right now, and are you going to get 8 runners? Maybe you are now that Marine Nationale's come out, but there's 13 in there. I'd say John Bond won't run. Irish Panther probably goes for the Arkle. They were sort of 50-50 on. They were talking on Road to Cheltenham yesterday, weren't they? But it did sound like they were probably going to stay with the novices. And you've got horses like Soul Nest, Captain Guinness, Liberty Hunter. I don't know if any of those are running. I think Liberty Hunter might be going Grand Annual. I mean, it's an awful race. I do think Quilixios will probably be in the top 3, and maybe that's a decent enough bet. But yeah, again, that's a very, very confident selection.
Yeah, he was. I think he was going to put it up to Marine National last year. Now, he hasn't had a great prep this year. He had a setback, I think, and was it a plan to go here fresh, or did he have a setback?
I think he had an early setback, but then they said that he does run very well fresh, so
yeah,
I've got no problems with it.
One of the only yards you're probably not really that concerned about a horse going there fresh completely. Is there any chance only by night slots in here? She's 33-1.
That was going to be my angle. I think that would definitely be my pick in this race if she ran. I mean, she was half a length second to or third, half length behind Mansborough last year, wasn't she? Or did she beat him by half length? I can't remember.
She was just ahead of him. She was second to Django, but yeah.
Second. Yeah. So I mean, Mansborough's 5-6, and she's 33-1.
Yeah,
for
like you take a non-runner no bet each way, like Ryan said, there's only 12 left in it.
I do think with that better ground, she probably again has a better chance of staying for the mare's chase. Something I had a concern over her about, but better ground maybe give her a better chance. I think I'm willing to forgive Aletta Tomp. I think he's a bit of a forgotten horse in this race, and he certainly won't have any issues with the ground. I know he's won on good to soft and good ground. So I think he's a little bit forgotten about. I can forgive any horse one bad run. I know he doesn't have great form at Cheltenham, but I think he's just matured as a chaser. And I would rather back him at 4 or 5 to 1 than Majbra at odds on. Majbra, by all means, is the most likely winner of the race. But I mean, the way he jumped 3 of those last 4 at Cheltenham last year, your heart's going to be in your mouth coming to that last half a mile or so. And it just wouldn't surprise me if he put in a shocker again.
Yeah, when you go through the profile of favourites in this race, it's so easy to imagine Majbra being the next on that list. Like, he just has a quirk. G pieces might not have the same effect. He didn't run well here last year over fences. He has a habit of battering one. I just 8 to 11. Like, I wouldn't begrudge anyone who's on fancy prices, but like you, I'd much rather back Elete Thompson 5 to 1 than back Lotus Hood at 7 to 2. Like, Elete Thompson is a better horse than Lotus Hood. Hands up. And it, like you said, if they're meeting at Sandown, Elete Thompson would be 1 to 2 to beat. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm willing to forgive him. Again, another washy opinion, but only by night. I think I might have a small bet at 33 to 1 each way, non-runner, no bet. Because, like Ryan said, it will cut up. You might not even get the 8 runners. And I could easily see her trying to slot in here. If the owners could look and go, look, she was ahead of Majbra last year. He's 4 to 5. We're 33 to 1. Stick her in. Why not? You know what I mean? So yeah, small each way and her each way, and then probably Elete Toms just for the vibes. Like you said, Gareth, I echo your sentiment. I think he's just grown up now. His hurdles, both of his hurdles runs here, he was still a bit of a headbanger, and then he battered everything in his chase run over here, which could be said he might do the same again because it's the track, but he's become a much better jumper over the last year and a half. I just think he's worth, I just think at the price I'd much rather back him than Lotus Hood and Majbra as well. So I'll stick with a washy selection on Elete Tomps.
Yeah, sorry, one more thing I'll say about Quidixios just quickly is his record off of breaks of 189 days or more. He's run 4 times, won 3, and come second on the other run. One of those was beating Marine Nationale by 7.5 lengths over 2 miles. And I know every horse beats Marine Nationale over 2 miles. But,
you got him before I did.
but his record fresh is very, very good. Well, never out the top. So.
Yeah, do you know what? I could see that angle as well. I would have liked him a lot more at double figure prices than 7 to 1, but they could cut up I just can't trust Majbra. Love Sign the New is the short favourite now for the champion bumper, 4 to 1. I know you're a big fan of him, Ryan.
Yeah, well, I say big fan. I mean, he's not really done a lot on the cool shit, as he's just had the 1 run and he's won very easily by 23 lengths, was it? Same race that Jasmine DeVoe won a couple of years ago and then went on to win the bumper. It's mostly, to be honest, I think he's still around the 4 to 1, 9 to 2 mark. And Joe Chambers did confirm earlier that Patrick Mullins will be riding. So I think he's going to go off a bit shorter than that. And he's clearly the fancied one of theirs.
Yeah, I know you said it's the same route that Jasmine DeVoe took, so it's obviously not as big a negative as I thought it is. But the 2 mile tree bumper on bottomless ground, and they seem to speak about him like he's just a big 3 mile chaser down the line. A 4 to 1, I just don't like him. I'm on now. That being said, I'm about to put up a 4-year-old, which have terrible records in the race, but I like the profile of Quirin, as mentioned in the last time we previewed the champion bumper. I just really like his profile, and the yards seem to have a lot of good things to say about him. They kind of can't stop mentioning him. He'll get £10. I just think any horse that could beat Quirin, giving him £10, it has to be a really, really good horse, and I don't think it'll be a 3 mile chaser that does that. Gareth, who are you on?
I'd be dead set against Low Sound New as well. Sorry to pour cold water on your end, but similar reasons. 2.5 or 2.5, 2 mile, 2.5 on heavy ground. I just think something's going to be quicker than him. I think that race sort of fell apart a little bit. The one I did like was Bentrick Hill, but obviously not going now, I believe. So the one I had came down on, whilst I do like Curran, the one I came down on just was the Morn Rambler. On the day, again, not very bullish. I'll probably back 2 in the race, to be honest with you. I'll probably back Curran and the Morn Rambler each way on the day. But bumpers wouldn't really be something I would be investing too much time researching, to be honest.
Yeah, you're not gonna make your fortune at Cheltenham week back in the champion bumper anyway, especially when there's 5 or 6 Mullins horses in there that have won in very similar fashion. This year's weird. He's got a whole crop of horses that have only ran once and won once. He hasn't had any that have come out and backed it up again. The likes of the Irish Avatar, our Trigger, Quirin, they've all only won once, so it's just impossible to get a grasp on. But I'll go with a speculative. I actually quite like Quirin. I'll go Quirin. Ryan, you're at Love Sign the New, and GMAT, you are?
I'll go, just to be different, I'll go the Morn Rambler.
Perfect. So we've got 3 covered there. No doubt we'll have 3 that are tailed off. I don't think we're going to have as differing opinions in the first race on the Thursday. Bambino Fever versus Old School Outlaw. Big drift for Old School Outlaw over the last couple of days on the exchanges. Touched 10-1 at one stage before Gorda came out and said she's fine, she's going to Cheltenham. She's come in a little bit more. She's still 6 or 7-1 on the exchange. I just think Bambino Fever's an ungodly certainty. Do we all have that same opinion? Do we have to spend much time on this race?
The only thing I'd say is at the prices, I think you've got to back Old School Outlaw if she turns up on the day. I mean, at 4-1 each way, I can't see her not being in the top 3. The only thing I'd say, Bambino Fever looks like she's going to win. She should win, but you've had brighter days ahead. You've had Epatton and you've had Dino Blue in the last few years, all in this race, and they've all been beaten. Yeah, so that's the only thing. I mean, Epatton and Dino Blue were beaten out of sight. They were both not even in the top 10, I don't think. So, and turned off very short. So yeah, I'd be a little bit wary of that. It looks like there is gonna be 20+ runners. So I think there's better odds-on shots than a 20 runner novice hurdle around Cheltenham.
Yeah, I accept the angle. It's probably an each way bet to nothing. I'm not sure if she's going to stay at 4-1 on the day. She might come in for a bit more money, but each way bet to nothing. Like you said, for me, it's a match race, so you're getting pretty much your stake back, and then you have the win chance obviously as well if something happens with Bambino Fever. GMAT, whose side are you on?
Yeah, I'm with Bambino Fever myself, but like the Champion Chase, a bit of a graveyard for favourites in recent years. So, yeah, just with some of these novice mares, they can throw in a stinker. I mean, as you said, Ryan, Epatton beaten in this, and then she comes back and wins the Champion Hurdle, which is a bit daft. But yeah, I would like Bambino Fever.
The Thursday could be the day for the bankers. Another short price, depending on who goes. Mares Hurdle. If Lossiemouth goes to the Champion Hurdle, it should be a penalty kick for Woodhoo. Would you give Jade de Grugy much chance here if she reverted back, say Lossiemouth went to the Champion Hurdle, Jade de Grugy slots back in here?
Yeah, it's not an ideal preparation in my mind coming back from fences. But again, if she is around that 7-2 mark and Lossiemouth isn't running, I think again it's just an easy each way bet, isn't it? That you're going to get most of your stake back if she doesn't win. I wouldn't be personally. I don't think I could back Woodoo at odds on. I know she seems to always just do enough in her races, but she never really convinces you. I think her best run still was against Lossiemouth when she came second, so I thought that was the most convincing I saw her, and that was actually the time she didn't win. Every other time she seems to be off the bridle pretty early, and she does fine plenty. She's obviously a good horse, but again, I think there's a much better odds-on shot later in the day. Yes,
there is. GMAT, what do you think?
Yeah, as you know, Jack, I've been on the interlinked double all year of Lossie for the Champion and Woodoo for the mares. I share a similar sentiment to Ryan. I don't think I could bring myself to back her on the day at odds on. So I'm praying that Lossie goes Champion Hurdle and wins, so I don't have to back her at odds on the day. If she didn't go, I'd probably go each way and feed with the dancer. I think can't see her being out of the 3 personally.
Yeah, I'll just skip straight on. I'll come back to the Stayers Hurdle, but the last leg of that treble, I suppose, will be Fact to File and the Ryanair. I suppose we'll just I don't think we need to spend too much time on that race. If he shows up, it's looking like it's going to be a small field and an absolute procession.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant. So we'll switch back to the Stayers Hurdle, which won't be a small field and won't be a procession unless you really like TU Boots. It looks like a pretty competitive renewal. Cabral de Matan, you got TU Boots 9-4, Honesty Policy 9-2, Cabral de Matan 5-1, Bob Ollinger 6-1. The ground is coming for him. Mashan 2 7-1. Ballyburn got a couple of positive things said about him recent times. Impose Trois continues to drift. He's 14-1. I know you liked him earlier in the season, Gareth. GMAT, where do you land on this one? Are you sticking with TU or looking elsewhere?
Yeah, it's a bit of a complicated one. I think that Tipu is probably the best horse in the race, but I would like to see rain. I think he's at his best, and when it's wet, I think over Christmas there he won on Good to Soft, I believe, but I think he's handles the soft ground better than a lot of these stairs. Cabaret de Matan, I can't see staying, although the better ground probably aids his chances a little bit. A little bit confused as to what I actually fancy at the moment, to be totally honest. I'll maybe just stick with Impotois and hope that the better ground can maybe bring out a little bit of a better performance in him. But yeah, wouldn't be a bullish opinion.
Yeah, Cabral de Matan's a weird one because he was so against running him in this race earlier in the season. And now all of a sudden, he'll stay training while I know about it. Like, I just don't think he changed that opinion. There was talks at the start of the season. I think he said, I'd rather run him in the Champion Hurdle than run him in the Stairs, and now he's sticking him in the Stairs and good to soft ground. So he's not one for me. Tiupu, like we made the argument before, should potentially be a 3, at least a 2-time Cheltenham Festival winner. He's not. He's only won 1 Stairs Hurdle. He can find a way to get beaten. The ground is coming for Bob Ollinger, but is he just a year too old, and does he need the cards to fall perfectly right? I think he does. I think he needs a slowly won race, which he's not sure to get. Ballyburn, interesting. Not sure he gets 3 miles, so I'm falling down on Honesty Policy, even though the race doesn't really suit these young improvers that we seem to get every year. I just think that form behind Jasmine DeVoe last season is really good. His comeback run was fairly eye-catching behind Imposed Twice. He stuck to the job really well. He doesn't seem like he's that complicated of a horse. Just switch him off and then come and have your pop at them. It's a washy-ish opinion, but I do like him. I do like him in comparison to some of the other horses that are around him in the market. Yeah, just that question mark about TUP. He's the most rock-solid horse in the race. No one can deny that. But he just keeps finding a way to lose. And it's 1 year it was Kennedy, next year it was the pace. There's always an excuse for him, and I don't really like that. So I'm going to hesitantly go with Honesty Policy. And I think it speaks a lot that Impost Swell was a mile ahead of him in the long walk, and he's 3 times his price. So, yeah, Honesty Policy. Gordo put him up as the biggest danger to Tiupu, which he would say, obviously, if he's in his yard as well. But I'll go with him. Ryan, I'll go on to you now in a second. We're just going to run out of time on our recording here. Okay, we're back. Gareth is chatting away there. We're going to get Ryan's much-awaited thoughts on the Stayers Hurdle. Ryan, take it away.
I wouldn't have the same doubts. I don't think Tupu really cares for ground. I think he's won twice at Punchestown at the end of the season, or is it maybe even 3 times. I don't think ground's such a big problem with him. I do think you'll get a bit of a bigger price if the ground does stay soft. There's a little bit of rain about next Wednesday and Thursday, so it may soften up by the race. I do think people, though, if the ground is looking like it's going to be good to soft, Cabral de Matan and Bob Ollinger, even maybe Imposed Trois, are going to be backed a bit. I think Tupu's definitely the most likely winner, and I don't think 5-2 is the worst price in the world at all. But as you say, he has been beaten 2 of the last 3 times in the race, so he does sometimes find a way to get beaten here. I think Ballyburn at 11-1 and Imposed Trois at 14-1 are both decent enough bets. I think if you forgive Ballyburn the last run where he clearly didn't run his race, he's finished a nose beyond Tiupu over 2.5 miles. He does need to prove he stays 3 miles. But again, if the ground's a little bit better, I'd be willing to give him a chance at the price. And Impose Trois, I think, as you say, he beat Honesty Policy convincingly. And he's 3 times his price. I know he's been beaten since, but I think that was horrible ground that day, which he wouldn't have enjoyed. He had to give £6 to Marchand 2, which he obviously won't have to give this time. So I don't think I wouldn't give up on him at 14-1. I think that's a bit insulting, but yeah, probably my biggest doubt actually with Tiupu is just the possible lack of pace in the race. You've maybe got Galroad and Hewitt possibly running, who might be prominent, but he may have to just look at taking it up sort of a mile from home and putting some pace into the race and trying to draw out some of these horses' stamina. But yeah, it's an interesting race on paper. I think Tupu's the right favourite after all that, but I'd be backing Ballyburn at maybe a bigger price just to see if he can come back to what we think he could be.
So we got Honesty Policy for me. You're with the Rob course who just said his name. I can't remember. Tiupu. You're with Tiupu with a washy each way on Ballyburn, and GMAT, you are retaining the faith in Impose Trois?
Yeah, I'll back him each way in the day, yeah.
Perfect. Take us nicely to the first race on Friday. Jesus, this race is very competitive now. The Triumph Hurdle. Proactif the favourite, Salmon Avari second favourite, Manila Study, Maestro Conti, Macho Man, Monge 2 is not going, Winston Jr. might swap here, Mon Crusade, the big talking horse. It's a very competitive race. Anyone have any strong opinions on this one?
No, I think Macho Man. I think we all covered it last time. I think it's the one thing we all agreed on, that Macho Man is probably the bet just because of the price disparity between him and Proactive. I do think Paul will probably ride him over Selma Deveri. That's what I'm thinking. I did listen to Joe Chambers saying as well that he doesn't seem to fancy Selma Deveri. He thinks the new course isn't going to suit at all. He thinks she might have a good chance in the Champion Hurdle next year, but not much of a chance in this, which might be a bit counterintuitive. Do you say Monge 2's not running?
Yeah, she's not going to Cheltenham. They're skipping.
Not going.
Yeah.
Okay. Then so I'd maybe given her a chance. So no, I think at the prices, Macho Man is probably the bet, and that form with Proactive is probably worthy of being a favourite. But again, they've both only run once against each other. The time figure was decent in the race, but there's not a lot of form to go on with those two, so it's taking a bit of a risk still.
Yeah, Mon Crusade obviously was the talking horse. Mullins put him up as his dark horse for the season. Ruby Walsh was at a preview night in the Foxes and the Lavin. He put up Mon Crusade as a big each way outside show. These horses never really seem to come in, do they? It's just a very competitive race. Macho Man, like we covered last time, that form of Feel Good looks good. The talk on the preview nights is that Paul Townend will pick Macho Man, which, I mean, you can see the prices flipping then as soon as that announcement is made. And Selma Navari was very, very small. She's tiny, which I don't think that leads generally to much improvement run to run. I know it was her first run of the season, but I don't know how much better she can get from that in the space between DRF. I like Highland Crystal as an outsider each way. The fact they're not going for the Boodles, which she's got an okay mark for, they're taking Monge 2 out of the Triumph Hurdle and they're sticking with Highland Crystal. She's a strong stayer. You need a good stayer to win the Triumph Hurdle. She's a good traveller. She's been to England before and won over there in Newbury. She's good. She's a good horse. She might not be good enough to win, but she might run into a place at 16s, especially if you can get 4 or 5 places. That's kind of my thinking. It's a washy enough opinion. Main bet would be on Macho Man. GMAT, I know you're Macho Man as well.
Yeah, you're going to hit this, but I've started to come around. No, I'm Macho Man.
I was expecting to scroll way down to the bottom of checking to find up your next horse.
No, I'd started to come around, and there was a lot of chat and a lot of confidence behind Maestro Conti, but One Horse Town form has taken a real hit since he beat him. I thought Maestro Conti. The reason I liked Maestro Conti was I thought he saw the trip out really well, and it's a race that suits stairs. And the market was really weak behind him on the day, and he still won from an uncompromising position. So I sort of upgraded the win. But I think I still just up outside with Macho Man. If Yeah, like one horse time is beaten out of sight, I think, next time out. So I don't think that form's looking as good as it once did. But yeah, like I'll probably just side with Macho Man. If Maestro Conti won, I would kick myself. But I think the Irish form is likely to be better.
Nice, three very strong, confident selections for Macho Man. We're gonna have some split opinions in the next race. Potentially, I might be on one side. I know you're definitely on one side of the mare's Chase Roy. You're heavy on Dino Blue.
Yeah, I think she's definitely the most likely winner. My opinion hasn't changed on that. I still think 6-4 is fair enough. I think she's clearly the form pick in this race. I like Diva Luna as a horse, but I just think she'll lack the experience, and she'd ever hold up and miss the Silly Isles. So I just don't think she'll have the experience or be good enough for this. Yeah, I'm just against Spindlebury based on the prep. I just think the prep is awful. I know she's dropping into a much weaker race, but I don't like any horses that have pulled up on their last start coming into Cheltenham. I just think that's not good enough. Panic Attack, I'd be very much against as well. They're talking about the Grand National for after just winning over 3 miles at Newbury. Yeah, I can't have that. I think if they're talking about stepping up to that, then why are they dropping back to 2.5 miles? I think just it's kind of, well, it's slightly by default that I just think that a lot of them have holes against them that Dino Blue doesn't have. She does put in the odd terrible jump, but generally gets over to the other side. And I think a clear round would be good enough to win this race.
Yeah, Gareth, I know earlier in the season, me and you were both on Spindleberry. Have you softened on her a little bit since that poor run at Leopardstown? Are you forgiving her? Are you seeing the Dino Blue angle more now?
Definitely, yeah. I was initially forgiving her. The more I think about it, and the better ground, I think it just could just tee itself up for Dino Blue again, like last year. I thought that better ground was important to her last year, and it looks like she's going to get that better ground again this year. If it did happen to come up softer, I'd probably stick with Stingleberry. I was going to say Spindleberry there. I think she maybe has a little more stamina, but the closer it gets, the more I'm thinking that Dino Blue might just be a good thing.
So just me left on my own on the island of Spindleberry.
It'd be grind if it's good to soft, I'll back Dino Blue. If it's soft, I'll probably back Spindleberry.
Yeah, it would be worried that they thought she was not that Willie particularly thought she was a Gold Cup horse, but the owner thinks she was a Gold Cup horse, so maybe she mightn't be quick enough if it's proper good ground or good to soft. But the disparity in price is 9-2 versus 6-4. I'd take a small chance on Spindleberry. The prep is not great, but maybe even the fact that the owner thought she was a Gold Cup horse means she's very good. They've similar levels of form, and from earlier in the season they were beating kind of the same horses in the same fashion. I think Spindleberry's a safer jumper. I would just be worried that Dino Blue can throw in an absolute race ender. It's 80% good jumper from Dino Blue, and then she'll just land in the top of one of them. I don't think Spindleberry will do that, so small chance at 9-2, just on a price base though, because I'm wishy-washy on this one. But just about Spindleberry for me. Dino Blue for the two boys.
Is July Flower running? The plan is to run here, isn't it? Rather than the Arkle.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen much about her, to be honest. What price is she?
Yeah, she's at 12-1, and I think she's got some okay novice form that could be boosted by Be Aware earlier in the festival if he goes well in the Grand Annual. So maybe she's not the worst price in the world.
Yeah, but, also only by night. Obviously, if she comes here, she's a big chance, 8-1. I'm not sure what the plan is. I think she's still in the Grand Annual as well. She might be in a couple of the handicaps, so I have no idea what the plan is with her. We'll switch on to the Albert Bartlett. Speaking of people going cold on horses, a lot of people have cooled on the favourite here, Dr. Steinberg, 3-1, the Devil You Know, 4-1, and then all the way out to Spinning a Yarn for the next shortest in the odds, 10-1. 12's Espresso Milan, the Passing Wife, 12-1, yet to be supplemented. Sortudo, all sort that, no job at his end, won't go. Where do we lie on this? Are we wishy-washy on the favourite as well?
Yeah, I mean, again, I say this every time, but put him up at 10-1 before the DRF for that race and this. I wouldn't be backing him at 3-1. I don't think that's particularly good price with the doubts that you've got about him settling in the race. I think he will settle fine. Over the years, this has been a graveyard for favourites, and just generally shorter priced horses. I think I've said a few times in the previous shows that the Passing Wife will likely be supplemented for this. It's still looking that way. The supplementary supplements are tomorrow, aren't they?
Tomorrow, yeah.
For this race, yeah. So I believe he will be. I think the 12-1 will quite quickly go. I think that's a very fair price. I think once he is supplemented, that will shorten quite a bit. I think he's a sort of 5-6-1 chance in this race. It's still difficult to really know what's going here. There's still a few Willie Mullins horses. I mean, you've still got No Drama This End in here at 14-1, and I'll sort that. It's 14-1 horses that we're pretty sure aren't going. And I think the Devil You Know and I think Dr. Steinberg are both shorter than they should be based on what they've beaten. And I'll be taking a chance with the Passing Wife, whose form is. I mean, he was 2.25 lengths behind the Devil You Know over 2 miles, which clearly was a trip too short for him. I think he could turn that form around over 3 miles, and he won well the last day, so I'd be going with him at 12-1.
Yeah, I think, Gareth, you're a similar enough opinion to me that Espresso Milan's got a good chance in this race. How do you feel about Dr. Steinberg here?
Yeah, not really sure, to be honest. Wouldn't surprise me if he hacks up head and chest, but at the same time, not convinced he'll definitely get the trip. It's one of those weird ones. I could see either outcome. The two that I mentioned previously were Espresso Milan, as you said, and then also Dawson Lad for the Skeltons. Don't know. We'll know tomorrow if Dawson Lad is going to run. I just thought he was maybe looked like an improving handicapper, and this race sometimes fires up mad results. So I'd definitely be willing to back 2 each way at double figures rather than steaming in Dr. Steinberg. If he was 6 or 7-1, I think that would be a fair enough price in this. I think he's short, and I also think that the Devil You Know's got super short as well. He's like 9-2, 4-1 in places, which I think's pretty short too. So yeah, I'd be looking away from the top of the market. The Bartlett would be one I would tend to just have a couple of darts each way at double figure prices.
Yeah, like Ryan made a good point there. Like Dr. Steinberg, the Devil You Know, spitting the air, Espresso Milan, the Passing Wife will go. So Tudo won't go here. I'd imagine they're talking Supreme or Turners for him. Queeley's committed also at that to the Turners. No Drama This End, 90% going to go to the Turners. The Flying King misses the festival. Kazansky won't go here. You're back out to 20-1 then. So there's probably value in an each way bet. I just spotted a horse's name there that I backed for the Supreme and for the Turners. Turned out to be a very poor horse. Ruby talked him up. Dr. De Menil, he looks like he's going to come here. A lot to be taken on faith with him. I really like Espresso Milan. I just think he's tailor-made for this race. There's no fuss. You can ride him whatever way you want. You can get him in amongst horses. He doesn't mind giving one a little shoulder, get him out of the way, go through. He had to go through 2 horses the last day. He didn't even break stride. He was just galloping, bumping off the 2 of them, went straight up the middle. I think he's tailor-made for this race. Same owners as Nick Rocket, Patrick Mullins will probably be on. I don't think Dr. De Menil is the worst each way bet in the world at 25-1. Like, he does have that bumper form, and they obviously thought a lot about him. He disappointed when he didn't get up to beat Murat when El Kairos fell. That was the first signal, but that was over 2 miles. He ran very poorly against the Passing Wife, but as I mentioned we were doing a racing recap show after he ran. I just don't think he ever looked happy in that race. I think he might prefer a little bit of better ground, bit of spring ground. If you watch back that race, very early, Townend was squeezing him with him, kicking him with his legs. He was never ever going to gallop, and the Passing Wife knocked him out of the way. I just think I like horses that have a big reputation. The yard riders that are around him every day, they seen how good he was at home, so obviously they liked him. And that's the opposite for Dr. Steinberg. I always see Mullins, and anyone that talks about him, they go, geez, we didn't think this lad was any good at all. Which, to me, is a warning sign that maybe they just aren't very good. And the race he won in Italian Lacey was very weak. So it's one, and Ryan, I think you mentioned in a day 4 preview, the average winning SP of this race is 16-1 or something. So I think just find an outsider you like, fire a dart on him each way, and hope it sticks. I'll go Espresso Milan each way and a small each way on Dr. de Menil. Ryan, you are on.
Oh,
Steinberg
am I
10 to
on?
1.
Yeah, Dr. Steinberg, but I'll be back in the passing life at the current prices.
Yeah, and GMAT, your final selection?
Espresso Milan.
Perfecto. So on to the big race of the Cheltenham Festival after the Albert Bartley, the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Factor file 11 to 2. 95% sure he's not going to go. He's into odds on for the Ryanair. On the machine, Gaelic Warrior. Looks like he's going to go here. He's 11 to 2. 11 to 2, Jukebox Man. 11 to 2, Django Bay. 13 to 2, Gallop in the Champs. 15 to 2, I know the way you're thinking. 8 to 1, Haiti Colors. An absolutely exceptional looking competitive Gold Cup. Where do we land on this one? I'll go to Ryan first.
Yeah, with anything, I think my opinion's got even more clear since the last video, and it's still the Jukebox Man who is going to give Ben Pauling and Harry Redknapp a Gold Cup, which is amazing, really. But yeah, I do like Gaelic Warrior as well. I think he would have a great chance if Paul was on board, but I can't back Patrick Mullins to win a Gold Cup. I just can't see it happening. A lot of money's come for another way you're thinking in the last few days. Can't see that personally. I think it's going to be some comeback to win after that. And again, I don't like a horse that's fallen on its previous start that's got to go and jump 20 fences round Cheltenham. I've never been convinced by Django Bay. And I think Galloping de Champs is just a bit past it. And I think the Jukebox Man is the one that's up and coming. He's only had the 4 chase starts. He's already won a King George. He's beaten a Rocco who's going to win the Ultima in the Grand National easily. So what's not to like? I think the Jukebox Man will come up the hill and win the Gold Cup.
That's interesting. You think he's got to come up the hill because the last time he met the bottom of the hill, he was 5 lengths ahead of Stella Story and got ran down. So that's interesting.
Just
you think he's got to come up the hill?
Inexperience doing that.
Experience, yeah. I'm the complete opposite of you. I'm completely against the Jukebox Man. I don't think he's going to stay in the back of a horse box, let alone in this Gold Cup, which will be ran at a proper Gold Cup tempo. Haiti Colors will probably go forward. There's a lot of pace on. I actually am starting to get slightly worried about Django Bay. I just think this trip will be right up his street. He got the worst passage into the King George and he was closing all the way to the line. He's one that he's not the best jumper in the world, but I just think he's got a massive engine. I'm still keeping the faith in Galloping the Champs. I know you said he's past it. I said it directly after the Irish Gold Cup. He didn't look like he was out to even try and win that race. He got one smack of the whip, hands and heels the whole way. Everyone has said he's come alive in the yard now. He's absolutely flying. Mullins came on straight after the race and said, look, this wasn't even a race to try and get him to win. This was a race to see if he's still a racehorse, which I'm not even sure what that meant. But obviously I think he meant it's just a jog around, refresh him after a tough comeback race he had after missing the John Durkin. I just think he's got one. I think he was a bit over the top last season, and that's maybe where they learned that, okay, now he's getting on a bit. He probably only has one huge effort a season in him. He flattened out in the Gold Cup last year, probably flattered. I know the way you're thinking. I can't have him. I'm worried about Django Bay, but I'm going to stick with Galloping the Champs to regain his Gold Cup crown. GMAT, where do you fall in this very, very competitive Gold Cup?
Yeah, it's great to see it so open. Looks like it's got the potential to be a great race. Gaelic Warrior for me. I just think Paddy Mullins won a Grand National last year. I'm going to see him win a Gold Cup this year. I will be backing 2 horses in the race, so the other one's definitely hard overhead, because if he won, I'd probably be like you, Jack, when Tiger Rule won, I'd be crying. Is Envoy Allen. I'd love him to run a big race. He's available for it easy. I think the money will come for him on the day, given his record at Cheltenham. But yeah, it would be a fairy tale if he could even just run well. And he's a horse that I've always loved over the years. So yeah, I'll be Gaelic Warrior and a speculative each way on Envoy Allen. Yeah,
I think I'll be on Envoy Allen as well. You can't not back him. 12-year-old, 40 to 1. Just stick a 5 or 10 each way just to have it, like one of those absolute FOMO moments. It's like Langer down winning the Carl Cup for a second time. You hated it if you weren't on it. You loved it if you were on it. So just avoid it and have a small bet. Just to wrap it up then, I am on Galloping the Champs. Ryan, you are on the Puke Box Man, and GMAT, you're speculative each way on Enwa Allen, and you're on Gaelic Warrior Patrick Mullins to lift him up the hill. To be fair to Patrick, he's only ever given Gaelic Warrior good rides. Great effort to get him second in the Irish Gold Cup after pulling that hard. So that wraps up all of the good graded action, all the good stuff we've done our handicap video, and now we've done all the other races as well. Cheltenham's right around the bend. We're just going to go quickly. We'll do a banker of the festival and a blowout of the festival. So your banker of the whole Cheltenham festival and one horse that's short enough that you think won't run to market expectations. I'm tossing up on my blowout, but my banker is going to be Bambino Fever. I think she's going to reverse that form at Old School Outlaw. Old School Outlaw had the benefit of a run, albeit it wasn't a bumper. Still, Bambino Fever, I think, ran great behind her, but Mullins weren't running well. The vibes in the camp seem to be she's all good to go. She has that back class champion bumper form. I don't think she can beat him. Blowout, it's between the Jukebox Man. I don't think maybe he's not short enough. I think I'm going to say Old Park Star. I don't think the race is going to run to suit him at all. He's 2-1. I might not blow out now, but I don't think he's going to win. So, banker, Bambino Fever, blowout, Old Park Star. Ryan, we'll go to you next.
Cope the board will not lose. It's definitely win the Arkle. Blowout be between, I would say Lilamba, but that's the same race. That's a bit boring. I think Mighty Park's got absolutely no chance in the Supreme. So I'll know my fate after 2 races.
Yeah, get them out of the way nice and early. I like it. G-Matt?
Yeah, it's the same banker as you, Jack. Bambino Fever. I think she'll win. Vibes are really good. My blowout, both come on the same silks, be between the New Lion and Majborough.
Okay.
Now the Majborough blowout is based at the prices.
Yeah.
Because I think he's short and definitely has a mistake in him. He could win head and chest and make me look like a dick, but I wouldn't be back on that price. So yeah, the New Lion and Majborough, probably the New Lion ahead, but I'll be bullish and say I'll be taking on Majborough.
I like it. We're going to go around now. We're going to have bankers and blowouts out of the way. We're just going to give you a lucky 15 for the Cheltenham Festival. Nice and easy. All you do is pick 4 winners. Very easy. I'll start it out. My first horse, Kopek to me in the Coral Cup. He's 14-1 currently. I think it's a great price. I think Mark Walsh will. I can't pick anything else in the race that what Mark Walsh will be on, which means his price will half at least. You're getting 14-1 on a horse that'll probably be SPing at 7 or 6-1. I think he's got the right profile for the race, fits all the trends, right age, right rating. Mullins can come and win this race with a horse that's been freshened up. He done it last year with Jimmy DeSoy. I just think he's got a great chance. My next one is Quirin in the champion bumper. Any horse that can give him £10 and a bean is a really, really good horse. Gallop in the shop, I'm going to chuck in there as well. So that's 7-1. 9-1 Quirin, 14-1 Kopek to me, and then Regent Stroll in the Jack Richards. I think he's got an almost identical profile to Caldwell Potter. Very good grade 1 form over hurdles. 1 win and a couple of washy performances over fences, but literally the exact same profile, same rating and everything, same yard. Bop him out in front, Regent Stroll in the Jack Richards. So that's my lucky 15. GMAT, far away.
Yeah, I think I'm taking you on with a couple, Jack. First one up is in the Bet MGM Cup. I've went Storm Heart. I think it's available around 7 or 8-1. Vibes are good from the preview night. Classy horse and a handicap. Next one up, I'm taking you on in the Jack Richards with 6 Nile Bridge. Who's actually I'd say he'd be my nap of the festival handicaps. Very keen on him. He is officially a graded horse who's going to be running in a handicap. So I'll be very keen this chance. He's just good, consistent horse, good form at Cheltenham and good form of the season. My third one would be another one I mentioned in the handicaps video, Electric Mason. Split Machan 2 and the Supreme West in the qualifier at Cheltenham. Yeah, I think when I see Supreme West less than half the price, and Electric Mason at around 10-1, who's definitely not as ground dependent as Supreme US seems to be. I think Electric Mason's very fair, 10-1. And the last one is, I'm hoping Paul Townend sees the light and rides Carbo in the County Hurdle. Thought that was really eye-catching comeback. I think it was at Nice when he came there swinging at the last and just looked like he blew up a bit on the running. So yeah, they're my 4: Cowboy, Electric Mason, 6 Mile Bridge, and Storm Heart.
Very good, Ryan. Take it away, bud.
So I've mainly gone in graded races. So I do think a lot of the handicap races, a lot of the horses are very artificially short at the moment. I think I'll be waiting to the day for a lot of the handicaps. But my lucky 15 right now, based on, I think a lot of these 4 horses will go off a lot shorter. Quelle Histoire in the Martin Pipe is at 10-1 at the moment. Keneally has been booked to ride apparently, who would be the best jockey in that race. So I think he will go off half the price. The Passing Wife, who I just mentioned in the Albert Bartlett, again, I think once he's supplemented tomorrow, he will. Again, he'll shorten. I think he's a single figure 5-6-1 horse, and you can get him at 12-1 at the moment. King Rasco Grey in the Turners, I think he's roughly 6-1 at the moment. I think Paul Townend will pick him, and I think he won't be far off going off favourite, provided the talk doesn't run, but I don't think he will. And then Love Sandanu in the Bumper, also about 4-1. But I think once everyone realises Patrick Mullins is confirmed for the ride, I think he'll also go off around the sort of 5-2, 3-1 mark.
Brilliant. I absolutely hate that lucky 15.
That gives me actually a lot more confidence.
That probably means it's got to be the best one out of the 3 of us. Yeah.
That lucky 15 wins. I've had the worst week of my life.
Yeah, I'll be on my absolute hole if that comes in. Anyway, boys, I'll see you all next week at the festival. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget, the giveaway is still running. There's only €50 in the giveaway pot at the moment for 1 subscriber, but it's still got one more chance at the end of this video. Just comment if you have a horse you fancy over the next couple of days. Stick it in the comments. First person to comment, I'll place the bet on my account. If it comes in, we'll add it to the giveaway fund. If not, there'll be 50 quid going to one of you subscribers on Monday. So keep tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Cheltenham. Hopefully lots of winners, and see you then.